Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Wednesday morning, January 13th, 2021. I'm the man they call Meathead, and, we had the lovely Matthew Thomas on yesterday morning. It was such a big hit. Let's bring back the man they call Matthew Thomas for Wednesday morning. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. I think if Beckett had to rate us, we would be between very good and mint condition. Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'd ever pull a mint condition rating on what I've got going right now, but I'll tell you what, I'm a very good. I was doing some webcam stuff, and
I don't know if I want to go any further.
Well, it's now time for me to go inside you.
Tell me the truth. Are you now a cam boy?
I was doing some webcam stuff, and the man on the other end reached out and said, Meathead, I've got to be at least 10 to 15 years older than you are, and you got less gray hairs than I do. And Meathead, the young 20-something-year-old reached out and says, Meathead, I've got grayer hairs than you do too.
All right, I'm pulling out now. It was just awkward. But, apparently I've still got it going on. I'm getting to be an old man, and I still got a good look.
Yeah, I don't know what all that was about, but moving on.
It was creepy. I did that for Matthew Thomas.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I appreciate the thought. That made my night.
Let's talk about it.
Morning. It made my morning and my previous night. It actually enabled me to go back in time to the night before, and it made that as well.
Let's talk about our sponsors while we still have them. Our friends over at Manscaped.com.
For all of your webcam needs.
Make sure that you get silky smooth with webcam with Manscaped.com and use the promo code PWR. Save yourself 20%. Get the free shipping. Get yourself the care package. Get that ball powder. Get that all the stuff that they got, and especially the boxers as well. And the gimmick bag. Manscaped.com, PWR, 20% off. And our friends at collarandelbowbrand.com as well. PWR 360. Again, I'm still eyeballing that Bueno Hermanos, as we're going to talk about Impact Wrestling in just a second. The Good Brothers, Habla Espanol. PWR 360 saves you 10% off from collarandelbowbrand.com. All right, enough goofing around now.
No, but I will say this is the second day in a row that you've broken out some Spanish, and I mean, we knew that this show was educational based on the information we provide you for professional wrestling. But I mean, you're really helping people become bilingual. I mean, you're like the Rosetta Stone of podcasting.
Rosetta Meathead.
Yeah. Although I do have to throw out there, the next time we have a discussion about your finger depth in your belly button, we might need to preface it with a warning. I actually spoke to someone the other day who, from that very statement on this podcast, was tempted to see how far he or her, I'm not going to disclose the gender of this person, could stick their finger in their belly button. And there was almost an injury that resulted because of it.
Well, I mean, that's what the doctors at the emergency room are there for. They're removing stuff out of any kind of orifices that they find.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a talent that comes in handy.
Well, I mean, if you can make a couple bucks on it. We're going to talk Impact, and we're going to talk AEW and, excuse me, NXT coming up tonight. But first, we got some news. Matthew, I told you right before we went on the air what we were going to talk about. And it's awkward and uncomfortable to talk about, but I got to bring it up. Ex-WWE star Val Venis has temporarily been blocked by Twitter for violating the child sexual exploitation policy. Now, before we go off the handle on this is not pictures that Val Venis has created or shared or searched for. He believes these pictures belong to Joe Biden's son, and he's trying to get Twitter to acknowledge it. And Val Venis has always leaned one way. Val Venis is the Newsmax of wrestling world. He is definitely
that was his gimmick, right? Back in the day, the way that he leaned.
Yes. Well, I mean, choppy ya PP. Val Venis. I have nothing against Val Venis. Okay, let's make this part clear. Val Venis is a big supporter of marijuana, and I've always been a supporter of people who support marijuana. As in, our country is finally coming around to the point where it should have never been criminalized. That's just me personally. But it's hard for me to get behind somebody when they act in a certain way. Now, Matthew, you've seen and read the tweets, right?
Yes, I have.
Thoughts?
I haven't seen any pictures associated.
Right, I won't see
and
the
I don't
pictures
plan
either.
on seeing any pictures
Right.
associated. Here's the thing: if you're trying to prove a point to the point that you're risking, it sounds like, posting potential pedophilia related images,
Right.
it's a lost cause at that point. It is an absolute lost cause at that point. I mean, that's going to be your hill to die on, is that, I'm gonna have these images associated with me to prove a point. Yeah, that's the collateral damage that happens in that instance. And any, the headline from this is not going to be the point he is trying to
Right.
prove. The
But that
headline
headline's going to follow him.
is what you just read to me. And people get so busy in their day-to-day life that they see a line of something, and that's what they internalize. And unfortunately, most people are not going to click on that link and have the further explanation of what he's doing. They're going to say, "Oh, Val Venus pedophilia." We had something similar happen in Denver some years back, and fortunately, it was much more scandalized than there ended up being. But people just unfortunately took that one headline, ran with it, and you had an athlete who unfortunately had a lot of stuff associated with him from the first sensational headline, even though some news that came out later cleared him, and it was a very, very unfortunate circumstance. This is Val Venis putting himself in that circumstance, in that situation.
As you guys are listening to this program, and obviously you see the headlines, on how we do it. We don't sensationalize. You did not see it say Val Venis sexual pedophile. You're not going to see that. You're going to see just Val Venis's name, and it's going to say something along the lines of, Val Venis in trouble or something like that. We don't do that. We're not trying to get clicks. We're not trying to get views. We're trying to bring you the news. So you're right. Absolutely. Val Venis on probably every other website. The headline will read, Val Venis banned from Twitter, pedophilia. That's the headline. That's the one that gets the buys. That's the one that gets the clicks. That's the one that gets the likes, right? So not from us. We don't do that. But unfortunately, Val Venis feels that this is the path. Now, Val Venis has been burning that bridge with WWE for a while. He's been calling Rock a sellout for a long time, and now he's been trashing Arnold Schwarzenegger. So it's a tough spot to be. I do believe that there is something going on with the Power Elite, and they have these things that are happening, and that the Power Elite, along with them, defend them. However, you have to take care of yourself, and Val Venis is not taking care of himself or his name, or doesn't care. So that is what it is, and that is the little bit of news that we got here. Let's talk about Impact Wrestling. It was on last night. We got our next or final, I'm not quite sure, advertisement from Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone, pimping out Dynamite for tonight. You think that he was wearing 2020 glasses? I'm pretty sure they're 2021 glasses.
You're probably right.
But, I mean, just to see Tony Khan standing there in his Jaguar shirt with those goofy-ass glasses on is enough for me. It's funny to me.
And I agree. He's not, I'm not going to say he's growing on me, because I really did not have much of an impression on him, either way, other than we would see him occasionally in Gorilla, when he had something break out, hey, what are you doing, or something like that. But this is kind of our first glimpse of Tony Khan, and it's very interesting that it is on a different promotion and not on his own promotion. I do appreciate the restraint that he has shown thus far within AEW to, not be over the top and be, their version of Mr. McMahon. And I think that this small dose of him and Tony Schiavone, that is, the two Tonys, it's
we need to go get one more. Is Tony Nese available? Can he come and do these interviews? Because then we'll have Tony has done it again.
Yeah. I'd vote for Tony Danza.
Ooh. Tiny Danza? Isn't that the Elton John song?
Yes,
Hold me
that's it.
closer, Tony Danza.
That is oh man, I'm trying to think of the Who's the Boss theme song now, but no line will come to me. I just remember that van, man. I remember him cruising in that blue van.
Yeah. Well, the
That was
thing is that Tony Danza might have been cruising in a blue van, and he might be the one Val Venus is talking about. We don't know that for sure.
Oh my goodness, the simpler times when you could just answer a help wanted ad and show up at somebody's door
And move in with a family.
And start housekeeping with them. You know, I mean, that what a different world we live in now. You know, before that was
Wait, a different world. That was after the Cosbys.
That was the Cosby spinoff. You know, you could, as opposed to sitting on your couch and getting in trouble for posting something child pornography related, you could just answer a one ad, move across the country into somebody's home. I mean, come on. Those were the days.
Those were the days. You know what show that is.
Oh, yeah. See, I set you up perfectly for that,
Thank
Archie.
you. And you know where you was. Girls were girls and men were men.
Which right. that was all. Was that a spinoff, or did that spin something?
No, that
else
was its
off?
own. It spun its own off.
Yeah.
Because Archie had his own chart, Archie's Place.
Yeah, but I was thinking there was something else.
No, you're thinking of Happy Days spinning off 3 other programs.
Yeah. Hey, no. Where did Maude come from? Did Maude come from the family?
And here's Maude.
Yeah,
Maude came from Mama's Family.
No. Maude was before Mama's Family. Look it up. I think Maude came from All in the Family. Because she was like Edith's friend or something, and I think that's what brought us Maude.
So then Mama's Family came off of Maude?
No, Mama's Family came off of Carol Burnett's show.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Right. Yep. Because that was a skit. Mama was on Carol Burnett, and that spun off into Mama's Family. Yep.
For those of you listening that are actually under the age of 20, please welcome us back to Talking Wrestling with Matthew and the man they call Meathead, because you have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
But not like Welcome Back, Cotter.
Welcome back to the dreams.
You know what?
Anybody under
the age of 20 that are not getting those references, you need to open your mouth wide and bite off a big chunk of classic television.
TV Land. I mean, and you know, you've got the Hulus, you've got the Netflix, you've got the Prime Videos. They're all out there, folks.
Oh, it's all at your family. I mean, it's all at your fingertips. And
it's your family. No, it's all in the family.
Before we go further, I'm gonna throw this out there. You know, as far as what we take for granted that we have got access to now. I remember one time back in the early 90s on a Atlanta Braves baseball game, which was on TBS, this superstation, and I forget who it was, but there was somebody who came over to Atlanta from a different team, and part of his contract, he actually worked in addition to whatever he signed for, he worked in that he would get the complete Sanford & Son library. And of course, this was on VHS. This was on VHS. I mean, which you want to be confident. I mean, that's what you want as your compensation, is the Sanford & Son library. But anybody and their brother has got Sanford & Son, the whole series at their fingertips now. But just some 25, 30 years ago, that was what you had to write into a Major League Baseball contract because it was such a rare thing to possess.
Wow. Again, welcome back to Wrestling Talk with Matthew and Meathead. But that was probably the biggest nugget we have ever dropped on you. Matthew, how long have we been doing podcasting?
Me and you have been doing it for 9 years now.
That may be the best and biggest nugget I have ever gotten out of the 9 years and the different iterations of podcasting that we have done, from pimping Audible to pimping Monday Night Meltdowns to Atlanta Brave in his contract says, I will sign with you if you can get me the entire DVD Sanford & Son.
Not DVD. This predated DVD.
VHS.
This would have been like 91, 92, so VHS. And you know,
Wow.
I mean, you gotta stop and think about the sheer quantity of physical material that would be, because you could stretch out to 6, maybe 8 hours at a time on that. But when you're talking about a whole series, that's a lot of video cassettes right there.
That's an entire wall, entire
yeah.
curio cabinet. Wow. I'm just flummoxed. I mean, I'm blown away.
As well, you should be. I mean, that is a fact right there.
Again, you showed your age a little bit in there too. We used to like to, put you out there as, the young boy, if you will, of PWR.
Well, let me step that back. I was not watching this stuff first run. This stuff was already classic television when I was coming along, and so this was Nickelodeon, Nick at Night,
Okay.
TBS replays and stuff. So I didn't catch this stuff first run.
Yeah, I did. All right, continuing on, let's talk about Impact on Access TV. This is the last stop to Hard to Kill, and apparently Matthew's love of classic TV is never hard to kill. But let's talk about what happened. We had an appearance once again of the Good Brothers, the Motor City, the Motor City Machine Guns, and Kenny Omega. Now, they made it very clear they're going to be on Dynamite tonight. But the nice big brawl at the end of the show between Rich Swann, Good Brothers, Motor City Machine Guns, and Kenny Omega. The irony of it is that 5 of the 6 are supposed to be on Impact. It's really only Kenny Omega that's showing up on Impact. That's a different deal. But it still feels like special TV to me.
Yeah, and what I really liked tonight was the recaps of Dynamite. That's when it really felt special and things really felt things really felt.
Because you saw the club, the Bullet Club.
Yeah, interesting. I think what we're really going to get this at the end of the day. This did not necessarily feel like a true go home, and I think the reason being is we're going to get the go home tonight on Dynamite.
Yep, absolutely. So, and that's fine. Again, I apologize for calling you my young boy. I was going back in Conan clips. And Conan had a sumo wrestler, an American sumo wrestler, that dropped that reference on him. He said, well, in the sumo culture, I treat you like my young boy. You wash me. I'm like, whoa. I mean, because we've got coming up on Dynamite tonight, this is a segue, folks. Miro is going to be wrestling for the chance to get himself his own young boy.
Yeah, Conan, he was in the NWO for a while, wasn't he?
Not Conan, Miro.
Yeah.
Miro's wrestling Chuck Taylor of the Best Friends, and if Miro wins, Chuck Taylor has to be his young boy.
Yeah, Miro, he was the guy that he rode on that tank for a while, but then just decided to play video games, right?
Yes, and become everybody's best man.
Yeah, because that's a reasonable gimmick adjustment.
Yeah. Let's talk about what else is coming up on Dynamite tonight. Our main event is going to be Darby Allin and Brian Cage. A nice little shot by Tony and Tony about, hey, Tony, did you know that Brian Cage used to be an Impact Wrestling heavyweight champion? He goes, I did. I know he was there. Huh. Surprised that you knew that. Okay. Well, Brian Cage is going to wrestle for one of the best belts that we have, the Darby Allin TNT Championship tonight on Dynamite. Your thoughts on who's winning this match, Darby Allin or Brian Cage?
The Darby Allin association with Sting has just been too rampant over the last several weeks. And, also to kind of tip the hat a little bit here, I feel like Cage has got his belt and Darby's going to have his belt. I don't feel like Cage is walking away with it, which is a shame because I feel like Cage, he's one of those athletic big guys that you can book really strong. WWE did it for years with Lesnar. They're in the process of, I think, doing something similar right now with Bobby Lashley. And AEW, they've a little bit of the polish has kind of fallen off of Cage, and nothing that he's done, but I just think with the booking, and I think you're going to get a little bit more of it tonight. I don't see him walking away with the title, which is a shame because I feel like this is a guy that you could have really put there to run through some people. I think his push to the top in a title match was way too quick. You could have let this guy
casino battle royal.
Yeah, just dominate people. And I like the fact that Cage, that he's got a mouthpiece. I think Taz is a good mouthpiece, but I would have much rather seen that as Taz as Cage's advocate in more of a one-on-one type of deal, as opposed to just him being in a stable. I feel like he's gotten lost, a little bit there, especially with some of the company that he's got in that stable.
They've got a lot of things going on in AEW, a
Yeah.
lot of people there. We talk about WWE always counter programming what they're doing. They had a big night on NXT last week, and that was to try to match up with night 2 of New Year's Smash. Well, the New Year's Smash is actually happening tonight because of the Brody Lee situation. Tonight on NXT, we're going to start off the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Your thoughts on is it the Undisputed Era again? This time the team of Cole and Strong going for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Championship.
It's very possible. And I mean, NXT is a little bit of a different beast than it used to be. It used to be this was more or less pure developmental, and guys had a shelf life and they went up to the main roster. And with Undisputed Era, with Tommaso Ciampa, it's actually coming across much more now as a separate brand. I still don't give into the fact that it is a separate brand to a Raw or a SmackDown. I think it is still developmental in nature, but it is its own unique style, and you do have some tenured people there that are probably there for the near future. I think it's very possible that Undisputed Era does make another go at it. I don't know. Is this really their first time in the tournament as faces? Have they been heels in the past? I mean, this might be Undisputed Era face reign here. So it wouldn't surprise me, but what they've done in the years past in the Dusty tournament, there's been some surprises there. So I wouldn't put anything past them at this point.
We haven't seen Pat McAfee in a bit. I wonder if he shows up again to kind of get in the face of Undisputed Era. There was talk that McAfee had some heat with the WWE and NXT. I don't know about that. I mean, Pat McAfee is just doing what Pat McAfee does, and they knew what they were getting into. I think that Pat McAfee will be back with his group. What were they calling him? For the Brand, I think it was what they were calling him.
I don't
Something
remember. But yeah, that sounds about right. Or let me ask you this: maybe they're holding McAfee back for when Taker changes his mind and needs in his final last match. Taker McAfee.
Yeah, Taker McAfee, because that's what we want. Is we want Taker McAfee. It's just like on WWE's website right now. The only ad I keep seeing, I don't know if it's just maybe they know I like Liam Neeson, but the Marksman, Liam Neeson's. I will find you, and I've got a gun now with a scope. It's too late to turn back. In theaters Friday.
Liam Neeson versus Goldberg.
Is Goldberg going to keep blowing through people, or is Drew McIntyre actually going to beat Goldberg, and is Goldberg going to start giving back to the business that's given him so much?
It's strange because we talked about it briefly, but how's McIntyre coming off to you in this? The other night, the promo, the whole McIntyre Goldberg, it's like wrestling my dad line was strange. And then we got a little bit of something the other night or Monday night where he's talking about, Goldberg's age again. It's strange. I mean, everything else McIntyre sounds like normal McIntyre, but this whole age thing and it's like wrestling weird. It's strange. And I mean, that's not putting him over. You've got this guy who is,
right, you keep running down an old man. So if you win, you beat an old man.
It feels weird and strange, and I can't imagine that you would do a turn for the sake of having Goldberg your babyface here. I mean, a turn for McIntyre, in his title reign where he hasn't been in front of an audience makes absolutely no sense. But I feel a little strange about this when I watch McIntyre and Goldberg.
I feel a little strange when you're strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I want it and I don't because I think it'll be a nice physical match, but I don't know, man. McIntyre blew through Lesnar in under 5 minutes, remember?
Yeah, that is true.
All right. Well, we've got a lot of big stuff coming up tonight. Matthew, can you join us tomorrow?
I think that is that's highly likely.
Highly likely. All right. For the man they call Matthew Thomas and the man they call me Dad, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.